This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on RTGS, digital transactions and digital financial inclusion. The participants are Shishir Sinha, economic analyst, and Arjun J. Chaudhary, journalist.
RTGS has now been made operational 24/7 because of the monetary policy announcement by RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das with effect from the 14th of December 2020. Shishira, what is so revolutionary about making RTGS 24/7 when you have competing services like NEFT and IMPS? Shishir, do explain us what are the key differences and what is this monetary policy announcement by the RBI Governor so important right now?
See, as you rightly mentioned that there are three basic systems. One is called RTGS, which is real-time gross settlement. Then you have NEFT, which is National Electronic Fund Transfer. And then you have IMPS, which is basically a mobile number-based transfer mechanism. So for any retail or for any individual, for a smaller amount, IMPS is a good instrument because it transfers money instantly as soon as you enter the detail about the beneficiary, as soon as you enter the IFSC code. And just for the sake of our listener, IFSC code is basically 11 character based alphanumeric code where the first 4 digit or first 4 letter of that IFSC that denotes the branch. The fifth character is always 0 and remaining characters identify the branch. So this is IFSC. So whenever you have to use NEFT, whenever you have to use RTGS or IMPS, the first thing which you need to find is the IFSC code. And for finding the IFSC code, it's very easy. It is available on your checkbook. Or if you want to transfer money to anyone, you just ask him to send his IFSC code. That's the first process. Then what is the difference between that? For a smaller amount, you use IMPS. That's not a problem. For NEFT, any amount can be transferred and it is a 24/7. But the problem is that the amounts or the transfer is bunched. It is not on the real time. I mean, it will be after, say, a certain hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. So you are not getting something instantly. Now for a business, what is important is the real time transfer or on individual to individual basis. And for that, RTGS is the best instrument. What is the basic difference between RTGS and NEFT? NEFT, there is no limit, minimum or maximum. But when you talk about RTGS, the minimum limit is rupees 2 lakh. So you can transfer only above rupees 2 lakh. And most of the businesses, they prefer this kind of system because they have to transfer or they have to send a larger amount, a bigger amount. So for them, RTGS is a better system. And the best part is that it is a real-time settlement on individual to individual basis. You don't have to wait for day to over, or you don't have to wait for 4 hours or 5 hours to over. And then you will come to know that whether your money has been transferred or not. So that is the key difference between RTGS, NEFT and IMPS.
Especially with NEFT, which is based on a batch process. So you may enter the IFSC details, the bank and branch and the amount, but the amount would be credited into the account of the beneficiary only after a certain period of time. And that always creates a degree of uncertainty in any commercial transaction. But RTGS, especially with the kind of remittances, the volume of transactions, and let me give you some figures, 6.35 lakh transactions daily at a value of 4.17 lakh crore rupees across 237 participating banks. But the only downside is that minimum amount is 2 lakhs if you want to avail the real-time gross settlement. Why do we have such a cap in terms of the minimum amount being 2 lakh rupees?
See, this is mainly for the businesses thing, and that is for the online, real-time kind of thing. So you need to have some kind of safeguard there. If you do not make or if you do not provide any kind of capping or limitation, there is a possibility of misuse of that system. Suppose that you have transferred some money and there is a possibility that because of the internet connectivity, because of some other reason, that money has not been transferred. Then you will be in a kind of fix that whether that money has gone to the beneficiary account or not. The first thing is that. The second is, since we are giving a real-time system that as soon as I am entering the details, I am getting that details about the money has been transferred. So that is why that cap has been provided. And the third thing, it is mostly for the businesses. For the retail or for the individual one, you have a system called IMPS. So you use the IMPS system and that will help you in transferring or receiving the money. But for businesses, for larger amount, because IMPS has a limit. I mean, every individual has a limit. Like you are using your internet account, you will be asked when you are logging into internet account for the first time, one question will be asked that what will be the limit for IMPS. So it could be 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakh rupees. So that provides another limitation in IMPS. But in RTGS for businesses for large volumes, so it's a kind of separate channel, a dedicated channel for the businesses to do the transaction in an efficient and timely manner. That is why that cap has been provided.
Of course, before that, I'll mention, of course, that the inward transaction is free. There's no charge levied by the government. But for the outward transaction, there is a minimal fee of 24 rupees and 50 paise. That is the rate prescribed by the Reserve Bank of India. It can be less than that when the amount is between 2 and 5 lakh rupees. And if it is above 5 lakh rupees outward transaction, that is, you're transferring the amount to a beneficiary, then the charge is up to 49 rupees and 50 paise. You have to add 18% GST along with the minimum charge that the banks would apply outward transactions of these two types. But when you look at the difference between IMPS, NEFT, and of course RTGS, and when you look at the minimum amount whereby you can avail the benefit of real-time gross settlement, isn't there also the insurance component, the indemnification, the compensation in the event that there is some wrongdoing on the part of a third party or a mistake or error by the transmitting party itself? Do you believe that there is the insurance component, which is why you have a minimum of 2 lakh rupees by which you can avail the RTGS services?
Certainly there are problems, especially in a country where the net connectivity is one issue. And many a time it happens that when you are entering into all the details and as soon as you press the button of transfer, there is a possibility that net connectivity get disturbed. So in that situation, the money may be taken out from your account, but money may not reach the beneficiary account. So these kind of problem will be there. So to provide a kind of indemnity, the word which you rightly mentioned, indemnity or kind of protection from all kind of unexpected event. So limit has been fixed and liability has also been fixed on the banking part, on the various participating bank, that what are the things which they will have to provide in case something goes wrong. It also depends upon the individual whether he or she is entering the correct information about the beneficiary or not. And that is why the most important thing when you are using RTGS or NEFT or IMPS through your online banking system, the first thing you must mention about the IFSC code. The second thing which you should be very, very cautious about the account number. And the third thing is the name of the beneficiary. So these three things which you should be very, very cautious in entering on the online system. So if you have been able to provide the correct information, there is a very limited possibility of something wrong. But if there are problems like you have entered a wrong account number or if you have entered a wrong IFSC code, then there is a possibility that banks will help you to recover the money. But that is something which is only in the extreme cases. In the normal cases, businesses are very, very cautious in entering into detail because they are transferring some amount. And when you have a cap of rupees 2 lakh rupees, 2 lakh rupees is not a small amount. If you are transferring say 5 lakh rupees or 10 lakh rupees, it's not a small amount. So you will be double checking the thing. So my advice to every user would be that whether you are using IMPS, whether you are using NEFT, whether you are using RTGS, please be very cautious about the three things. One, that name of the beneficiary. Number two, account number, and third is the IFSC code. Even if you have made some kind of mistake in entering bank details, but IFSC has always a possibility of correcting it, because when you are entering the details on your net banking, whenever you will enter the IFSC code, an option will be given to check that, and accordingly automatically the details about the bank will come. So if you do not know about the bank, IFSC code will give you all the details about the bank and the branch. So if you are very cautious in providing details about these three things, this particular system will be really, really very helpful for you.
So effectively there is an autocorrect, an artificial intelligence built into the coding of this system itself. Yes. And RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das, when he made this monetary policy announcement on the 9th of December, he did give the credit to IFTAS, which is the Indian Financial Technology and Allied provide services to ensure that the payments are secure. Because once RTGS is carried out, it is full and complete. The payment and settlement has already taken place, and then the liability would be either on the sender or the bank itself. So one has to be very careful.
Certainly. The first thing which you must keep in your mind is your money which you are sending to somebody else. So it is rely on other that someone else will provide you all kind of protection. The first level of protection starts with you. So what kind of details you are using, what kind of access you are using. My advice would be when you are going for RTGS, NEFT or IMPS, please avoid public network system. It should be done only through the private kind of system or the internet facility which is available at your home or available in your office. But don't go to any PCO or don't go to any internet cafe to transfer this kind of thing, because there is a possibility that your details may be captured by someone else, and that can be misused by people. So whatsoever security is being provided to you through banking channel or by the participating banks may get disturbed or may get distorted by these kind of places. So the most important thing which you should keep in mind, that avoid using public network system for RTGS, NEFT or IMPS.
So with this warning or the caveat, as you just mentioned, and in the general policy of ensuring that there is financial inclusion in the economy, within the digital framework, how does the average person actually understand the key differences of the three? Of course, this program is making them aware of it. But in a digital economy, what are the challenges, especially where there's a threat or risk of cyber criminality?
First and foremost challenge is the trust. Many of the people who are using banking system, they are not relying very much on the banking network or internet banking facility. And there may be various reasons for that, because we have seen or we have heard about so many instances of people using all kind of data entered. And that is why I said that please do not use public internet cafe kind of thing, because from there it is very easy to take out your data. And I would also say that whenever you are using, even at your home, use the virtual thing. Don't enter the details by using the keyboard kind of thing. Like if you have to enter the number, use the virtual keyboard rather than the real keyboard. So that will certainly help you as to provide a kind of security level at yourself. The first thing. Second thing is that how to provide the trust to people, because still in India, when we talk about transaction, almost 90% plus transaction is happening on the cash basis or not through the digital means. Of course, after demonetization, we have seen some kind of changes in digital payment system, but still it is much less than the global average. And one of the reasons is that people are not able to get that kind of trust. So whether we are in a position to provide that kind of trust to the people or not, and I have heard Mr. Shaktikanta Das a number of times, and every time he says that it is safe. So this is giving some kind of assurance to the people that you are using it, there is no problem.
Well, the traditional banking system relied on negotiable instruments like check, signing and its clearance from account to account, and all the employment in the banking is based on that. Can't RTGS or NEFT, for that matter, can be carried out within the confines of the bank security physically itself?
When the RTGS or NEFT introduced in way back in 2004-2005, the first thing was we need to avoid this kind of physical system like check, you rightly mentioned, or about the demand draft or the banker's check. And the problem with the check is that now we have a very fast, rapid system of check clearing. You can still remember there were some days when the check used to take almost 4 to 5 days, and if it is an out-station check, then there are another problem. So just to remove all kind of problems in making the payment system more efficient and more user-friendly, the check system has been slightly taken into other corner, and these kind of digital system are taking place.
Thank you so much, Shashi Sinha, for informing our listeners on the benefits of a 24/7 operational RTGS. The principal responsibility lies with the parties to the transaction, and if one can be responsible, then they can certainly minimize the risk of any kind of inward or outward transaction. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You were listening to a discussion on RTGS, digital transactions and digital financial inclusion. The participants were Shishir Sinha, economic analyst, and Arjun J. Chaudhary, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our website, newsonair.com. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsttalks@gmail.com.